didn't really think about thinking of an image or of a map in that way and how the connections were drawn.
I guess when I was thinking about maps, I was thinking very like, not actually like a physical map or like a Google map, but I was just thinking of like, what is a map, and like it's leading you places, so I sort of thought like the lines were a map themselves, and so hearing all the translations into like literal maps and like map on a napkin was really cool.
Eva's interpretation reminded me of, I think I saw, or I listened to a This American Life episode about maps once. They talked about this guy who was like a modern day cartographer, but he didn't do like, I guess when, like I think of the word map in my head, I think of like a treasure map with like a dotted line and like an X in the middle that you like roll out. But he made maps like, for instance, one was like Halloween, like jack-o'-lanterns that people had carved for Halloween, and he would just have like a layout of the streets and then show like where the jack-o'-lanterns were on the streets. So like have them arranged that way, but then he would take away the background, so it was only the jack-o'-lantern part. And so I feel like Eva's interpretation was like more along that line of like a less literal like point A to point B view of the map.
I think along those lines, sometimes when she talked about like intensity in various spots, it made me think of those maps that they have that's like a color gradient, and then different parts of like the country, whatever it's measuring, that's less prevalent or more prevalent, they're different colors, and that's not a map that's trying to get you anywhere, but it's showing like regional differences or something, so that impact the intensity of things in different areas.
Yeah.
I was thinking even if you like open up a page in an atlas of Illinois, and then you have a cluster around Chicago that's just like dense with either weird labels or like intricately woven like overlapping roads or whatever, and then like all around it is just like open space with like some chunks of lands that are like, or with some chunks of like towns or suburbs that are not nearly as densely marked. I thought about that as kind of like mapping out intensity or high frequency versus open space.
So we had a lot of different interpretations of what a map was. So I'm curious if you go back to the image that you were working with, and we were talking about how to see intensity and color, and thinking about repetition of a map, or starting from point A to point B, and kind of how far can you zoom in and how far can you zoom out. So in thinking or in hearing an idea of a map that hadn't occurred to you or that you thought was interesting, I'd like you to work for a little bit to think of that interesting idea of a map and how you can look at your image through that idea. So it's kind of an edit on your first idea, if that makes sense. So if at first you were looking at your image as something to go from point A to point B to, that's what you explored. But in hearing everyone else's interpretations of a map, if you were intrigued by the various colors or where they exist, if you don't have colors, if you find intensity of certain letters perhaps happening in certain areas, how would that change your movement? Does that make sense?
So is it an